Ram Ram Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. जय श्री श्री राधा गोविंद की जय, श्री गौनताय की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, आनंद कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल। So we'll chant few prayers before we begin today's satsang.
Yes, Prabhu.
Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanama Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Veena Mataji, shall I begin?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Can I start, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. I think that your sharing thing can be done.
Yeah, I tried it. It didn't allow me, so.
Yeah. Now I have done.
Yes, okay. Hey, you have sent this to Milind Prabhu, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. I have sent.
Yeah.
Oh, the Mataji also responded that she will join.
How to do that? Sure. You can see my screen, Mataji. Radha Krishna photo, Radha Govind photo.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see. Yeah.
You can see this creation picture.
Yeah.
Okay. So we welcome all the devotees again today for this next session on the creation of the material and the spiritual world. So yesterday we had learned that the Supreme Lord has three creation: the material world, the spiritual world, and the Brahma Jyoti. We are there in this material world, and when we do follow the path of Advaitism, we go to the Brahma Jyoti, that is Sayujya Mukti. But if we do bhakti, pure loving devotional service of the Lord, we what is this?
That is by mistake. Someone has clicked something and they've taken the cursor here and there. That's why, Prabhuji, that will go off. That may be.
My God,
I don't know how to restrict that action. Which one you are saying, Prabhuji? This one. There's some lines are seen on the picture.
Yeah.
No? That விசாலாட்சிமா உங்களோட இதுல இருந்து தான் அது காட்டுச்சு. அதுல அன்டூ பண்ண முடியுதா பாருங்க. நீங்க பண்ணத வந்து அன்டூ பண்ணி பாருங்க.
இல்ல நான் ஒண்ணுமே பண்ணலையே.
இல்ல உங்க கர்சர் தான் மூவ் ஆன மாதிரி எனக்கு விசாலாட்சின்னு தான் காட்டுச்சு.
இல்ல ஃபுல்லா தெரியல. அந்த கிருஷ்ணர் படம்னு சொல்லி கொஞ்சம்
நகர்த்தினதுதான். அதுதான் அத வந்து அது ஒரு ஆக்ஷனா பண்ணிருச்சு அத. சோ நீங்க பண்ணின ஆக்ஷனா எங்கயாவது ஒரு ஆரோ மார்க் இருக்கும் அன்டூ பண்றதுக்கு. அது இருக்கான்னு பாருங்க. அன்டூ பண்ணி பாருங்க.
It's Control Z. You can press Control Z. Undo. Control Z will undo it.
Oh, okay.
செல்லுல தானே பாக்குறேன்.
Cell. Oh, it's in the mobile that she's seeing. Then what to do?
Maybe she can try to log out and log in. Mataji, you can.
Yeah. Ada log out பண்ணி
நேத்து கேட்டவனே கேட்க வேணும். இல்ல அது என்னமோ நான் ட்ரை பண்ணி பார்த்தேன், வரல. 63 கேட்டுனாரு காலையில. சரி இது நீ 63 கேட்டியா?
Prabhuji, you just unmute yourself because yeah.
Okay, so
see, for these lines to go, I think you can exit the share screen, close the share and then come back, or if it doesn't bother, it's okay. Yeah, now again you share, then the lines won't appear now.
Oh, that was simple. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Mm.
those who are following the Advait path in this material world go to the Brahmajyoti, and those who are bhaktas or devotees worshipping the personal form of the Lord go to this Vaikuntha planets and have a particular relationship with the Supreme Lord in the Vaikuntha planets or even the Golok Vrindavan, like the neutral relationship Shantras or Dasyaras, servitorship, or friendship Sakhyaras, or Vatsalyaras, like becoming parent of the Supreme Lord, and Madhuryaras, having a conjugal relationship with the Supreme Lord. So we saw that material world, Brahmajyoti, and the spiritual world. Now we go on to the next part of the creation. How is the creation done? Creation means the creation of the material world. Spiritual world, creation and destruction doesn't happen. Whereas only in the material world is creation, destruction happen. As we saw yesterday, that the characteristic of material world is that it is temporary and everything continuously changes its form. So here is this material world, and here is this Vishnu, if you all can see, and this Vishnu is called Karno Dakshai Vishnu or Mahavishnu. The name of this Vishnu is Karno Dakshai Vishnu or Mahavishnu. Why is it called Karan? Because it is the Karan means, like in Hindi or Sanskrit, means cause. He is the cause of this material world, because from him everything is manifesting. So hence he is the cause of this material world. Hence the word Karan. Karan means cause. So hence this name Karno Dakshai Vishnu. So from this, okay, we'll come to the creation later on. We'll talk about three types of Vishnus. So this is Karno Dakshai Vishnu, the first Vishnu from whom the whole material universe is emanating. And there is only one Karno Dakshai Vishnu, and he is residing in a Karnodak ocean. You see that this is the Karnodak ocean in which the Mahavishnu or Karno Dakshai Vishnu lies. Okay, he is a four-handed form. He has this Shankh Chakra Gada Padma in his four hands. And he is the source of the material creation. And this Vishnu, when he exhales, all these universes come out of the pores of Mahavishnu. We have these pores, right? Small holes in our body. So all these universes, there are billions and trillions of universes which is emanating from the pores of Mahavishnu or Karno Dakshai Vishnu. All these pores. And when these universes are in the raw form, then Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu, glances on this universe, and it impregnates the soul which are there in his body into these universes. So depending on their past karma in the previous millennium, all these jivas will start functioning from that point of time at which they had left in the previous birth or in the previous millennium. So this is how the creation, it's a very complicated process. We are just explaining it in a very rudimentary way, in a very macro way. So from the pores of Mahavishnu or Karno Dakshai Vishnu, these universes are emanating. And when the Mahavishnu glances on these universes, on this material creation, the jiva or the souls which are resting in Mahavishnu's body or Karno Dakshai Vishnu's body, through his glance, enter into all these universes. And depending on their past karma where they have left in the previous millennium, they start from there itself. So now all these universes are created. Now, this Vishnu, which is only one, and it is Karno Dakshai Vishnu, expands himself into Garbho Dakshai.
Excuse me, Prabhuji, can I ask a question here?
Yes.
See, you said the universes come out of his pores, and by his exhalation, they start existing, and the jivas go and go into each of these universe. Is it not the universes are given life, you mean to say, or the there are beings, there are living entities or beings, life in each of these universes, different lives, and the jivas go and give life to that. What that I didn't understand.
That's a complicated part of the creation of the universe. As I mentioned, I'm explaining the very macro part because that will be very detailed. And I'm also not ready to speak on that subject right now. So broadly, I'm saying that the universes are created that way. And the creation is that this whole material universe is something like a
Jiva in itself, kind of.
Sorry?
Jeev in itself.
No, material world is dead matter.
Okay.
And in this dead matter, then the jiva is impregnated because that the dead cannot function. The body cannot function without the soul. Similarly, material creation of dead matter cannot function on its own. It requires impetus. So that living force is through the Supreme Lord who injects this universes or this material blob through the jivas. And then the jivas get into it, and as like material body is a lump, right? In the mother, lump is created. But when the soul is impregnated in that body, it starts living and growing.
Functioning.
Otherwise it's just dead matter. The fetus in itself is just a dead matter. So, so the jivas from Mahavishnu or Karnodaksha Vishnu are impregnated into this material universe. And the whole creation cycle starts. It's explained in the initial chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, how the creation is done step by step by step.
Yes.
It's quite complicated, but it's very interesting to know that.
Yes, understood, Prabhuji. Yeah.
So this creation is done by the exhalation. All these universes are created by exhalation and impregnated by the glands of Karnodaksha Vishnu. And the universe starts functioning. So the factory is now on. Where have the soul come from in Mahavishnu? Because in the previous annihilation, or the pralaya, when the whole thing was devastated, the jivas who are not yet qualified to enter Brahmajyoti or the spiritual world go inside the material creation as well as the jivas, those who are not qualified to go to Brahmajyoti material or the spiritual world, go inside the Mahavishnu and rest there till the next creation happens. And lastly, you would have heard the pastime or Leela of Vamandev, that when Bali Maharaj, when Vamandev asked for 3 steps of land from Bali Maharaj, he said, yes, what are you asking? Why are you asking for just 3 steps? I am the king of the universe. You can ask planets, not just steps, but or a particular area, but you can ask for a planet. I have that capacity to give it to you. So then he said that if one is not satisfied with 3 steps of land, which is his need, then he cannot be satisfied even by the proprietorship of the whole of the universe. So then he granted the boon, okay, Brahman Devta, you can ask for whatever you want. So then Vamandev asked for 3 steps of land. And as soon as he asked for 3 steps of land, Vamandev started expanding himself. And he expanded, he became so gigantic that by 1 step, he covered the whole of material creation. And by the next step, he created all the outer space. And then he asked, where now your everything, all your property has been now in my name. Now, where do I keep the 3rd step? If you don't give me this 3rd step, that means you're breaking your promise. So then Bali Maharaj surrendered unto Vamandev and said, you put your 3rd step on my head. And that is the reason Bali Maharaj is very famous devotee, because he surrendered himself and everything to Vamandev. And when he was extending his 2nd step in the outer universe, it punctured these layers of the universe. This is the particular highlighted universe, and the toe. Just 1 second. जी का मैं लेक्चर में हूँ, थोड़ी देर बाद फोन करूँ जी. So the toe of Vamandev punctured these layers of universes, and the the water of the Karnodak Sagar came inside the universe. And that was then taken by taken by who? Gangadhar, Lord Shiva, on his head, because Gangaji's force was so strong that it could have just pierced the whole universe. So that force was taken by Lord Shiva, and hence his name, his another name is Gangadhar. And from there, the Ganges flew came to the higher planetary systems, and then to the earth, and then Gangaji went to the lower planets also. So Gangaji is worshipped because the water had touched the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Hence, it is the purest, is very, very pure. Gangaji is very pure. So the toe, this pastime of Vamandev, when it touched the thing, and hence it is the Ganges water is being worshipped. Then next. So this Karnodakshay Vishnu expands himself into Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and this Garbhodakshay Vishnu goes into every universe. You can see this blurred photo. Everywhere there is Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So there is only one Karnodakshay Vishnu, but there are multiple Garbhodakshay Vishnu in charge of each universe. So like Karnodakshay Vishnu is the Atma, or the soul of this whole material creation, whereas the Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the soul of each universe. And from his navel, you would have seen this photo also of Lord Vishnu, from whom these universes are emanating. And you would have also seen this photo where Lord Vishnu is resting on the what do you call Sheshai, on the bed of the serpent, and Lakshmiji massaging his feet, lotus feet. And from his navel, a stem is emanating, and the lotus comes out, and on the lotus, Brahmaji is sitting. So this is the creation of one universe. And on this stem, this green stem, you can see all the planetary systems are residing on these on this stem of this lotus flower. So Garbhodakshay Vishnu, it is an expansion of Mahavishnu. And this Garbhodakshay Vishnu lies in the Garbhodak Sagar. You can see this water, Garbhodak Sagar. It is lying, this Vishnu is lying in this Garbhodak Sagar. Lotus is emanating from its navel, we saw that. And there are 14 planetary systems on the stem. And we'll come to this part. Like there are two kinds of annihilation. One is in the day of Brahma, and once at the end of the day of Brahma, another at the end of the life of Brahma. So in the partial annihilation, all the pralaya, all these lower planetary systems are annihilated, and the jivas herein will go into the body of Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Whereas when the complete devastation happens, when all the universes are annihilated and the full pralaya happens, then all the jivas enter into Karnodakshay Vishnu. Okay, so we learned two Vishnus, Karnodakshay Vishnu and Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Now we come to the third Vishnu, is called Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Now this Kshirodakshay Vishnu, you can see this Kshirodakshay Vishnu. This is Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So this Kshirodakshay Vishnu is an expansion of Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Garbhodakshay Vishnu expands into Kshirodakshay Vishnu. And why this name Kshirodakshay? Because this Vishnu is lying in the ocean of milk, Kshir Sagar. So this Kshirodakshay Vishnu is lying in the Kshir Sagar, ocean of milk. Whenever there's a problem in this material world, Lord Brahmaji, accompanied by all these devatas in the higher planets, approach this Kshirodakshay Vishnu. If you read the birth of Krishna, that the Bhumi Devi approaches first Lord Brahma, and he says that I'm being tormented by the demons on me, and I cannot handle the weight of these sinful demons. So please do something about these demons. So then Brahmaji, along with all the demigods and Bhumi Devi, goes to the bank of this Kshir Sagar, and Brahmaji chants the Purusha Shukta prayers. So when the Purusha Shukta prayers Brahmaji chants, there is a communication between Lord Brahma and Kshirodakshay Vishnu. And that communication is not verbal, it is through the heart. And Lord Vishnu understands what the problem is through Lord Brahma, because all the demigods, other devatas, cannot directly approach Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. It is only with the boss of this universe, that is Brahmaji, they approach all the demigods and Bhumi Devi. And they convey whatever their issues are to the bigger boss, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. And then Kshirodakshaya Vishnu said that you don't worry, you please go down, and instructed all the devatas to take birth on the earth where Lord Vishnu is soon going to appear. So this is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Another thing, whenever the problem comes, devatas and Brahmaji goes to Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Also, the different avatars. What is avatar? Avatar means to descend, to come down. To come down from where? From the spiritual world. The avatars come down to establish religious principles, to give pleasure to the devotees, and to annihilate the demons. So hence the name avatar. Avatar means to descend, to come down. So whenever avatars come down to this material world in these universes, they come through the agency of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu and come to wherever they are planned, they are scheduled to perform their pastimes. So the avatars which we know in this universe come through the agency of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu in this universe. Okay. Now we'll go to the different, within this universe, there are 14 planetary systems, if you can. If you can read this, these are the 14 planetary systems here. Satyalok, which is the abode of Lord Brahma. It is called Brahmalok also and Satyalok also. So these are the higher planetary systems. So these all from Satyalok, from Bhuvarlok till the Satyalok, these are higher planetary systems. Then Bhurlok, where we are, the Earth planet, it is the middle planet. And then the lower planetary systems. Okay, these lower planetary systems. So these are a few characteristics. The higher planetary systems, it is the destination of the pious and the Devata worshippers. And even the Devatas, they reside here. Like we see in the Swarglok, 33 crore Devi Devata, means 33 million demigods. They are in this Swarglok. Then here the lifespan is very big. Like we have 80 years or 100 years of lifespan in this Bhurlok. But here there's billions and millions of trillions of years. The lifespan is very, very big. We'll see the time scale later on. And Devatas and the Devata worshippers, their destination are these higher planetary systems. Then earthly planetary system, we are here. It is ideal for spiritual practice because in heavenly planets, there's a lot of material pleasure. So we tend to forget when we are too happy or when we are too sad, we tend to forget the spiritual path. And when by doing good activities, you go to higher planetary system. By doing lower activities, sinful activities, you go to the lower planets or to the Patal Lok. And when all these all your karmas are exhausted, then you come to this Bhurlok. Now, I'm talking from a very macro perspective, because the details are very complicated. We cannot comprehend with our human intelligence. But you do by doing good activities and bad activities, when they are exhausted, you come to this Bhurlok and perform and carry on with your remaining karmas in this Bhurlok. So this is ideal because there's a mix of happiness and distress. If you're very happy, you forget God. If you are too much distressed, you forget God. But here it is kind of a balanced situation. Then lower planetary system is the destination of the atheists, demons and nagas. There is no light. So the demons, the nagas, they all reside in this place. Lower planetary system. And there is no light because it's very far from the sun. So there's no light. And the light which they get, like how we get in the night tube light, right? Or the bulb, we get that light. Here, there are jewels from which they derive light. And below, if you see Patal, like you can see there are Pitrulok and the hellish planets. So these are the Atal, from Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, and Patal. So these are the lower planets. And below that, there's Pitrulok. We do that Pitru Puja, right? So that Pitrulok is, and below that, there are hellish planets. There are 28 hellish planets where the punishment is given to the sinful souls. So again, higher planetary system, middle planetary system, and lower planetary system. Now, these are the names, different names, and who are the residents of each of these planetary systems. Like Satyalok. Satyalok is not just one planet, or Tapalok is not just one planet, or Burlok is not just one planet. It's a planetary system. Like you can imagine a circle and a plane. There are many planets in that. So hence the name planetary systems. So these are details where who resides in which locus. And each of this loka signifies a part of the Lord's body. Like Brahmalok or Satyalok signifies the head of the Supreme Lord. Then Tapalok and Janalok is the chest. From the chest to the neck are these Tapalok and Janalok. Similarly, Maharlok, Svarglok, Bhuvarlok are the navel. Then Atal is the waist, something. So these details you can go on. And below the Patal, there is this Naraklok, 28 hellish planets where Yamaraj and Yamdutas reside. So generally, when somebody does sinful, the jiva or the soul does sinful activities, he is tormented or punished in this Narakalok. Now, these are called Swarglok, right? We have this Swarglok here. It is a lot of enjoyment and everything is there in this Swarglok. But higher lokas, they are for like ascetics and sages, Prajapatis, the Kumaras, the Bhrigu Muni, and those who are into some spiritual activities. So they are residing in these planets. And Brahma, who is the manager of this whole universe, resides in the topmost Brahmalok. But these lower planetary system, Atal to Patal, here also there's a lot of sense pleasure, lot of material sense gratification is also here. But this is mainly predominated by the demons who are so into enjoying life. We see many times people, they just want to enjoy life like anything. They have no higher values or morality or spirituality. They just want to enjoy how I can be happy. So those who have very less or no spiritual intelligence, they are sent in these lower planetary systems. And that sense gratification is more than Swarglok also. Because Swarglok devotee, the Devatas are devotees of the Lord. And they have that sense of spirituality. So they are not just only focusing on sense enjoyment, but they do their spiritual practice, etc. But the residents of the lower planetary system, they enjoy materially more than even the Swarglok. But they have no spiritual understanding. Whereas the Devatas, they are all devotees of the Lord. Hence, they have gotten this position of being a Devata, who are the managers of this material world. Too much of heavy theory and things. Would you like to take a break or just maybe release the stress of so much of theory, or shall I continue? Please kindly guide.
Yeah. What do you all feel? I think we can continue, Prabhuji.
I see.
Yeah, you can continue.
So there will be some repetition because we need to impress upon certain things. So there will be repetition. And many times things just, they are common in a couple of slides. So please bear with some repetitions if they are there. So why one exists in the material world? Because we have a sense of proprietorship. If we just think a bit deeply, then we are seeing everything with respect to me. I should be happy. I'm in this place. I want to go there. We don't think about the world because we do not have that capacity, nor do we have that desire. So whatever we see, we want to be the proprietor. This is my house. This is my land. This is my family. This is my money. So we have that sense of proprietorship. And because we think that I am the controller, I am the owner of this thing, but we know that just before our birth, we were nowhere, we didn't own anything. And when we will leave this place, when we will die, we will not own anything, nor can we take any of the material possessions to wherever we go next. But still that illusion is created by the Maya potency of the Lord. And it makes us think that I am the proprietor. And what happens when you think that you are the boss of the house or boss of the company, you want to enjoy the fruits. the company will do a lot of business, and whatever money comes will come to me, and I will enjoy that money and go on vacation, buy a Mercedes, or do this or do that, whatever. And I will always want to control. Sometimes we want to control physically, that I am the boss, I am the CEO of the company, and all the employees of the company should follow me. That controlling mentality is there. So because of that sense of proprietorship, or sense of enjoying everything, and sense of controlling things, I tell you to do something, you don't do, and I become angry. Why? Because I want to control you. Everybody wants to control other person. It's natural tendency of the jiva here. So hence the conflicts happen, right? Husband wants to control wife, wife wants to control husband, parents want to control children, children wants to control their friends. So this on and on, everybody wants to control. And the general outlook in this material world is very self-centered. We are just focusing on me, I and mine, me and my, I and my family. Let the world go to hell. I should be safe. I should be happy, and my family should be happy. Let the whole world go to hell. I don't care. So that self-centered outlook is there. And when a person gradually expands his consciousness from me to my family, family is also not, I didn't mean to criticize the family structure, but I am saying that we have to gradually expand. A selfish person thinks only of himself, no other, not even family. Then he expands to family. Then he expands to his caste, or to his village, or to his town, then district, then state, then country, and then the whole planet, and then the universe. So this is how this is. And when we take to bhakti, gradually consciousness gradually expands. So in this material world, predominantly the spirituality is lacking. And as I explained you earlier, when we have good karmas, we go to the higher planets, enjoy, come to this planet, Earth planet. We do bad activities, go to lower planetary system or the hellish planet, suffer, and come back to the Purlok. So now, where the problem is, we have these material desires, and because of which we are toggling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And in every lifetime, there is birth, death, old age, and disease. No one wants that, but it's there. In higher planetary system, there may not be like too much of disease or old age, something like that, but there is death. Every soul in this material has to die without any exception. The jiva has to relinquish his material body. Though the material body we have here is different, we can see our material body, but if you go to higher planets, it's the body is made up of, here the body is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, everything. But as we go higher, the bodies of the devatas is made up of subtle elements like fire. Sun god is made up of fire, sun god's body. Then the intelligence, Brahmaji's body is made up of intelligence or ego. So these are the subtle elements, elements, the body is made of the subtle elements in these higher planetary systems. But nevertheless, everybody has to relinquish their body, if not today, then tomorrow. So that is the problem in this material world. And why are we existing here? We are existing here because we have that desire to enjoy selfishly. And when we relinquish this desire, it's a very wonderful shlok, SP 1-17. You can look up if you can see here also. Yeah. Sri Krishna, the Supreme, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed an urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So our cause of material existence is this material desire. And how to vanquish those material desires, which is mentioned by hearing and chanting the holy names of the Supreme Lord. This is the process. And this is one of the angas of bhakti, hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita and from devotees, and chanting the holy names of the Supreme Lord. By this process, gradually our purification happens, where the material desires gradually leave us. And that pure desire of love of God. So that doesn't mean that you have to become a sannyasi, leave family life and go to the jungle. Nothing is mentioned like that, right? Whether you are in a city or in the jungle, it doesn't matter. How you think. A person can be in the jungle and he wants to rule the whole jungle. That is also material engagement. But a person can be in the city and be very philanthropic or very spiritually elevated. He can be in a suit and tie. He can have, he may be having a big house, wife, children, and a big empire. But still he can be a very elevated devotee. So these external things doesn't matter much. In how you think, what is your consciousness and what is your motivation is very important bhakti, not the externals. Somebody may put tilak, somebody may wear a dhoti or a sari, and somebody may not. So that's not so important. External things are not so important, but the internal consciousness is very important. So to get out, one exists in this material world, but if one wants to get out of it, one has to hear and chant. Hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita, devotees, and chant the holy names of the Lord. By this, we can gradually go out of this material world. Why we should do that? We'll take it later. Now we come to, well, yesterday we spoke something about mukti. Why do we want mukti? What is the problem? I'm enjoying here, as we said yesterday. We are enjoying in this planet. We are reasonably happy. I have a car, I have a bungalow, I have family, I have a job. I'm kind of enjoying. What is the need? As we said yesterday, it has a time span which is very limited. And even if we are enjoying right now, next moment, we do not know what's going to happen. I can share my experience when in 1995, I did my engineering, and then I got a job in TCS. And then they had deputed me to New Zealand. My father was working with Reliance. He was a sales manager there. He had a car, chauffeur-driven car. We had a bungalow in Vashi. Everything was very nice, hunky-dory. And I was like educated. I got married, and then I was in New Zealand. Everything was wonderful. There was nothing we could have. And after 10 days, when I was in New Zealand, a call came to me, and my father told me, your Nikhil is no more. Nikhil was my younger brother. And he said, Nikhil is no more. Everything, the car, the bungalow, the relationship, the social status, everything fell apart in a moment. Nothing of these opulences could bring my brother back. So our happiness, we may think that we are in a very well situated place, but in a second, the whole thing can collapse. We can see when tsunami came to Japan, we were there. All cities were finished. Earthquake, when it comes, the cities and civilizations are finished, you know. So our happiness in this material world is standing on very, very weak legs. So hence, it is very important for us to think a little higher than personal happiness and our comfort situation in this, wherever we are. So to avoid this birth, death, old age, and disease, we need to aspire for bhakti. Material pleasure does not give eternal happiness. It has a fleeting, it has a lifespan. It has a limited lifespan of material happiness. To achieve, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that to have eternal life, blissful life, we need to be in the eternal place, which is the spiritual world. And this is the natural situation of the soul, jivas. What is the natural situation of fish? If anybody would share with me, where would fish like to be? What is his natural habitat?
Water.
Correct. So similarly, the Jeev's natural situation is the spiritual world, because the Jiva is also spiritual in nature. And it would like to be in a spiritual place. That is a natural, original constitutional position of the Jiva, of the soul. So it wants to be there. But right now we are in an artificial situation, as we saw yesterday. We are Satchit Anand, but we are in Asat, Achit, Niranand situation. And uninterrupted, unmotivated, loving devotional service. This should be the goal of our life. We may go to the temple once a month, once a year, or maybe once a day, but it's not. And just doing that is not enough. It has to be uninterrupted. And sometimes people think doing uninterrupted devotional service means leaving everything. No. Arjun was fighting the war. He was killing his dear ones. But his devotion to Krishna was intact, even though while doing material activities, which were his duties. and unmotivated, loving devotional service. We always say that we want to go to the spiritual world. We don't want birth, death, old age, and disease. We don't want miseries. We don't want distress. But if you analyze it, there is a selfish motivation in it, isn't it? I don't want this. I don't want this. Again, it is I-centric. So for communicating and inspiring the jivas, we may say that you will have a lot of happiness there, showing the carrot, not showing the carrot, but marketing kind like everything will be nice. But deep down, there is still a selfish motivation. Of course, there's nothing wrong in going to the spiritual world, or no misery is nothing wrong, because that is the nature of the jiva. So jiva would want ananda. It would want eternity. It would need that knowledge. But just focusing on that still has a underlying selfish motivation. So there should be no motivation at all. That is pure bhakti, and that we gradually can reignite within our heart through association, through hearing, and through chanting. And again, how do you know, or I know, whether a particular path is bona fide or not? So then we need a reconciliation of whatever the sadhus, whatever the devotees are saying, whatever the scripture is saying, and which is in turn ratified by the Supreme Lord, Guru, and also the Guru, whoever from whom we surrender. So this Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Shastra means scripture. Scriptures means they are the word of God. So these three things are the barometer to check whether the path is genuine, because there'll be many gurus. They might not be following the scripture. They have their own philosophy. Or there may be a guru, but other sadhus don't respect them or do not conform or agree with their understanding of the scriptures. Or there are some who just study the scriptures and chant shlokas, but they don't understand the inner meaning or the purport of the yoga of the shastras. So hence this check and balance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra should be there, so that it helps us to follow the bona fide, authentic path which would give results, because that has been ordained in the scriptures, and scriptures have been followed by the jivas since time immemorial, and people have achieved success. And Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and the Supreme Lord all say that we need to get out of this material world. Hence, it is because of these reasons, mukti is necessary. Okay, we are already time now. So I'll just quickly go through the types of liberation. So yesterday we were talking about Advaita Mukti or Sayujya Mukti. It is those who think, or those who consider the impersonal Brahman, Nirgun Nirakar Brahma, to be the absolute truth. Those jivas, after liberation or mukti, they enter into or merge into this Brahma Jyoti. And this particular kind of mukti is not very much appreciated or encouraged by the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas will focus on either pure devotional service or any of these four muktis. So we'll go one by one. Sayujya Mukti means, the Advaita Mukti is the Sayujya Mukti, means merging into the Brahma Jyoti. Second, and this is Advaita Mukti. And then the Vaishnava Mukti is considered Sarupya Mukti. What does Sarupya means? Same bodily features. So when the jiva goes into the Vaikuntha planets, it will have the same form as the Supreme Lord. Externally it looks similar. The jiva will also have 4 hands, but the body is made up of spirit. It's the whole body is spiritual, but the features of the body and the body structure and texture will be like the Supreme Lord. Salokya. This is to live in the same planet as the Supreme Lord, because when you go to Vaikuntha, naturally you would be living in the same planet, and each planet will be predominated by one of the incarnations or one of the manifestations of the Supreme Lord. Samipya. Lords, the devotees in the Vaikuntha planet, they are always centered towards the Lord. They are like a magnet, they get attracted to the Lord. And that is the qualification, and that is the reason they are there in the spiritual world. We do not have that spontaneous attraction right now. So they want to stay very close to the Lord. And then Shashti. This is like having the same opulence as the Lord. So Lord is very beautiful, is full of knowledge, and he's very renunciant. He has all the riches. So all these opulences, to some degree, are possessed by devotees there. But again, Vaishnavas may describe these Sarupya, Salokya, Samipya, and Sarshti Muktis, but that is not the purest form of bhakti. So here Srila Rupa Goswami gives the definition of pure bhakti in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and it is also mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. One should render transcendental loving service. Transcendental means transcend, to go above. Go above what? Above this material world, above this material understanding. And loving service, it's not that you have to do it, otherwise you'll be suffering in hell, or I'll send you to jail. No, not like that. Loving, it is by own choice. If somebody puts a gun on me and says, love me, that is not love, that is force. So love means like I should decide. Like sometimes people talk about conversion, people talk or force people to follow some spiritual path. That is not right. First thing, it should be transcendental, means it should be spiritual in nature. Then it should be loving. Loving means, and that love should be spontaneously coming out of our heart, not by force. Then to whom? To the Supreme Lord Krishna. Next, it should be favorable and without desire for material profit or gain. Favorable in the sense, bhakti means to completely meditate on the Supreme Lord. So Kans, Ravan, they were meditating on Krishna and Ram continuously. But for what? For killing them. But Mother Yashoda also, and Nanda Maharaj used to also think of Krishna the whole day when Krishna was herding the cows with his Gopa friends. So there's a difference. It should be favorable, not unfavorable. Kans and Ravan, they were unfavorably remembering the Lord continuously. But Nanda and Yashoda were remembering the Lord out of love and to serve the Supreme Lord. Without any material desire, I should not do devotional service because, I will dress the deities very nicely and somebody will clap hands. Oh, fantastic, you did a great job. I am giving a lecture and 10 people will glorify me. Oh, fantastic. And I derive that happiness from those glories. Or I may be sing kirtan very nicely and everybody is in ecstasy and they say, oh, what a kirtan you did. So, and I will enjoy the outcome of my own glorification. That is not pure bhakti. Although the act is devotional. I am doing kirtan, I am giving lecture, I am dressing the deities, I am cooking nice, wonderful prasadam. Activity is spiritual. But what is the motivation behind it? Am I doing it for my desire, for my personal material profit or gain, or my enjoyment, or for the enjoyment of the Supreme Lord? Through fruitive activities and spiritual speculations. Fruitive activities mean karma kand. We'll do this, I'll do this. Oh Lord, give me a car and a house besides the sea. Swami Jai Jagadish Hare. Means we are asking benefit. Oh, please, Lord, give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. So it's a kind of a fruitive transaction. I want something in return. But Shuddha Bhakti, pure Bhakti, has no desire whatsoever, material desire. And spiritual speculation. I will talk about big philosophy from Bhagavatam, this, Puranas and Upanishads, etc. So I'm hovering on my intellectual and mental platform, but I don't have the devotional attitude to serve the Supreme Lord. It is just intellectual exercise, which is giving me a lot of pleasure. Intellectual pleasure is also so great that we get attached to it, materially speaking. So that is pure devotional service. So different things will again go through. Transcendental loving, not by force, spontaneous from the heart, and spiritual, transcendental spiritual. Spiritual loving service. To whom? To the Supreme Lord Krishna. And why Krishna? We'll have to see later on. And it should be favorable. It should be without any material profit or gain. Oh God, I am serving you. I do the puja this or next day. Please, a car should stand in my parking lot. Not like that. I am just serving you for the sake of it. Because I love you. I just want to please you without any material motivation. Through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation or the study of the religious scriptures. That is pure devotional service. So this is our goal. Hence, sometimes people say you talk about going to the spiritual world, enjoy life for eternity, this and that. That is also selfish. So yes, it is selfish. That is not the highest form of, it is like something called Karma Mishra Bhakti or Gyan Mishra Bhakti, where you have that some karmic desire to enjoy, and you have those Gyan, some impurity of the Jnana in your Bhakti, where you want to enjoy the philosophical aspect of it. So it should not be there. Those kind of motivations are not appreciated in Bhakti. Completely pure desire to serve. And you can see the desire in the mothers, that motherly affection for the child, their love is, we can, from the material perspective, we can see that the love of mother for the, not child to the mother, mother for the child. It's so pure. I remember when in Tokyo, I used to go to office, and that time the children were there and their mothers were taking them to the bus. The child was there throughout the night. In the daytime, they readied them and they are standing with the child. And when the child goes inside, still they were like this waving hand and like as if like, I cannot understand what's going on. They were just with you and they'll come back after a few hours. But that motherly affection is so pure. They just want to serve their child in whatever way best they can. So we can get a glimpse of what is pure devotional service from the motherly affection the mother has for the child. So I think we'll have to end here, and later I do not know. There are a few other things also. Mataji, Meena Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. This is a very, very comprehensive explanation for us. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. So if anybody has question, we can.
Anybody has any questions or want to speak something, can say.
I'll just give a 1 minute, like what is remaining, so that you can.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So that like the relationship of the Lord, how we relate to the Lord. Yesterday we discussed most of them, but the Madhurya part we did not discuss. What is Swakya and Parakiya? This we can take at some other point of time.
Yeah.
Then what is position of Krishna, Balram, Sankarshan, Vishnu, Narayan, Paramatma, the different avatars in the material, how the demigods, how they are all related. Because there is always a debate whether we should worship Krishna or Lord Shiva or Lord Ganesh or Lord Kartikeya or Vamandev or Varadev or Narsinghadev, or whom should we worship. So so we need to understand everybody's situation where they all fit according to the scriptures, and then it will be easier for us to. Then this is the universal time scale from Lord Brahma till us, and then this is the lifespan of the universe, which we just now discussed. We discussed about the space part, but now this is about the time part. Okay, and then there are different kinds of avatars: Purusha, Leela, Guna, Manvantar, Yuga avatars. They appear, and then what is their relevance? I think by and large we covered this. We have been covering the miseries in the material world and enjoyment in the spiritual world. But we need to relate these spiritual things to us, and we need to understand who we are. So that portion through Bhagavad-Gita we can understand, and we can understand who we are. Like we are not just in this situation, we have a gross body, subtle body, and also the Atma. And we cannot completely work on the spiritual platform because we have this body to maintain, and we have our subtle body also.
Yeah.
What is death? What is God? How do we achieve this final destination? So these are few things which are still remaining. Okay, Mataji, over to you, Mataji. I just finished.
Yes. So you have given a glimpse of what is still remaining. That we will do maybe in a month's time or so, Prabhuji, when we are mutually convenient time.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Anybody has any questions? Please feel free to anything and everything. There's nothing which.
It need not be just related to this. If you have anything else like you want regarding bhakti or chanting or whatever you wish to ask, you may ask.
Okay, actually, I have a question. This is Priya. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. How to continue in bhakti, how to increase our spiritual, and you have said about that it should be the love for the God. So how can we increase our inside bliss or happiness towards God? what is the practice we should do, and we should continue in the spiritual path?
Yes, Madhi. Thank you very much, Madhi, for your question. So the first thing is association. We need to be with like-minded people, because alone it is very difficult for anybody to perform. We see in the life of Bharat Maharaj, he renounced everything, his beautiful wife, wonderful children, and the universal kingdom. But then he went to the jungle and he got attached to a deer, and he became a deer. Why? Because he did not have that association. Although he was a very, very elevated soul, he was at the bhav stage. So hence, next lifetime, immediately he achieved the prema. But the point is, the association is very, very important. Like if you have one stick, it can be broken easily. But if you have a bundle of sticks, you cannot break it. And so the association of like-minded people is the first thing which we need to strive for. Because, every night you put the phone on the charging. Why? Because it has discharged. So the whole day we are working for family or for work or whatever, so we get discharged. So we need that spiritual charge again. So when we meet the devotees, we get that charge. Second thing is to hear or read Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. See, it is a 700 shlokas in Bhagavad-Gita and 18,000 shlokas in Srimad Bhagavatam. So by and large, this can be finished in a year's time, or year or 2 or 3. But again and again, when we read it, a sannyasi told me that and since last 25 years, I have read Bhagavad Gita 3 times a year, so 75 times. So every time I read it, I find something new. And you yourself will also experience that, the understanding, then the consciousness gradually rises. And we are able to understand and read between the lines. What is the actual message Krishna is trying to give me? So that is hearing from devotees, or reading. Reading is also kind of hearing, right? You're reading the books. And the most important, which is very potent in this Kali Yuga, is chanting the holy names of the Lord. Okay. You may think, what happens chanting Hare Krishna? Nothing happens. But chanting does have a lot of impact on your consciousness. As we take bath to clean our body, when we chant the holy names of the Lord, one of its effects is to cleanse the heart from lust, anger, envy, greed, pride, and illusion. And it's so powerful that you can yourself experience, and no need to understand the whole dynamics and what will this holy name go inside and do in your intelligence or in the spirit soul. No need to understand. When we are eating, do we try to become scientists and find out how it is getting digested? We just eat. We are enjoying the eating and don't think about it. But the body has its function, which actually absorbs all the nutrients, gives strength, and give happiness to the tongue, the taste buds, etc. Similarly, when we chant, automatically we are able to see a bit more deeper than just a spiritual superficial vision. We are able to see in a spiritual way. So association, hearing, and chanting. These 3 things are the fundamental, and these 3 things we would do throughout our spiritual like practice. Not just that now I'm doing it, and after 10 years I can leave everything and I am on my own. No. Hearing, chanting, and association will go on throughout our spiritual sojourn, spiritual journey.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Anybody else? Hemlata, do you have any questions to ask? Tain Marie, anybody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
You didn't touch on this topic, but I would like to know, you just showed some slides which gross, subtle and causal body. I'm not very sure of the causal body.
Which body? Gross and subtle.
No, gross, subtle and causal. There are 3 types of bodies, isn't it? Gross, subtle and causal body. So gross is the body that when we die it leaves, but I would like to know what is the causal body. Not very clear about it.
Causal body, Mataji, I also do not know. I didn't use that term. I said the cause. Like Karno Dakshai Vishnu is the cause of the material world. Hence, that his name, Karno Dakshai Vishnu. But the gross body and subtle body I mentioned about, like we have this gross body and subtle body. And causal body, I think, I'm not very sure, but those who are following those energy paths, they may be talking about like aura or something. You may be indicating that one, that we have an aura around us. That you're talking of causal body? Because I'm not familiar with that.
I think I just read somewhere that the causal body is whatever things that we have done in the previous birth remains in the world, and it comes to us when you have a rebirth.
I see.
All your karmas enter through that, because that causal body remains that way. That's what I read. I am not very sure. That's why I'm just asking you what is causal body.
Yeah, so that is we call it a subtle body. The subtle world, like we have 8 elements, right? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These are the gross material elements. And this man, buddhi, ahankar.
Yeah, ego.
Mind, intelligence, and ego, false ego.
Yeah.
This when the death occurs, the soul comes out of the body, comes out of this gross body, Panch Mahabhut ke body say it comes out, but the soul is accompanied by the subtle body of mind, intelligence, and false ego. And this subtle body carries on all the karmic impressions and whatever you have. And this, again, depending on whatever the karmas the body has done, this soul, along with this subtle body, goes inside another gross body. It can be of animal or human or devta or anybody. So this is the process of transmigration. So it is something like wearing a coat and a shirt. If suppose your body is the soul, then your shirt is like a subtle body, and your coat is like a gross body. So gross body, you'll take out the shirt, means gross body is gone, but the shirt is still there, and the body, this physical body, is something like soul. The soul, along with the subtle body, transmigrates from one body to another, depending on their previous karmas. And where we talked about mukti and bhakti, right? So at that time, what happens when you're completely free? The soul is completely pure of spirit, of the karmas. This subtle material body leaves the soul, and the spirit soul in its pure form, the spirit soul in the pure form, which has its own spiritual intelligence, spiritual mind, and spiritual true ego, goes into the spiritual world. And hence, this causal body, according to your definition, the subtle body, is also removed. But till we are in the material existence, this mind, intelligence, and false ego will accompany the soul. So this stores your karma, and according to that total of your karma, summation of your karma, we get our next body. And some of the karmas will give immediate reactions, and some may take a long time to give reactions. After even lifetimes, you get reactions of some karmas after many lifetimes. But if you do bhakti, what can burn this karma is only bhakti can burn all these karmas. By our own activity, we'll try to become good. But again, the material nature is so powerful, it will force us to sin. The tendency to sin doesn't go. We may do some prayashchitta, we may try to become good, but just being here will cause us to commit sinful activities. So when we do bhakti, we transcend all these material modes like sattva, raja, and tamas guna, and we gradually take to the path of spiritual progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a question.
Yes.
So we came to know about this Garbhodakshaya and Karnodakshaya in very detailed form. You told me that according to the rule, the pores, from the pores, the universe emanates outside. So while the exhalation is going on, each and every Karnodakshaya will come with the particular universe, one universe. So what will happen? Inhalation, Guruji. So inhalation, it has to wait for the pralayam to go inside the Vishnu, or it has some other.
When inhalation, the destruction happens. Exhalation means creation, inhalation means destruction.
Okay.
And so at that time, the pralay happens. And this is the complete, absolute pralay at the end of life of Lord Brahma.
Okay.
This is the complete pralay, means all the universes are completely annihilated. But there is one partial pralay which takes place at the night of Brahma. So that we will study when we do the timeline of Brahma. So that time there's a partial, and as I mentioned, the partial annihilation, the lower planetary systems gets annihilated within the universe, but the universe remains intact.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a very complicated subject. We need to get into our system very, very, very politely and very strongly.
Yes, indeed, Mataji. And that's
trying to get into our system.
Yeah. Sometimes what broadly we need to understand, scriptures are so complicated and there will be so many contradictions, will break our head. Ne? So at the onset, maybe if we can understand the purport, exactly what is the purpose of doing everything. Is the technicality the purpose, or we want to go back to Godhead, that is the purpose, or pure bhakti is the purpose? So we need to pick up what is most essential right now, because even if we can spend lifetimes after lifetimes, we may not be able to complete all the Puranas and
correct.
Upanishads and everything.
So our main motto, our goal is to go into the path of bhakti and get out of the system. Okay.
So that's the reason, as I mentioned, Mataji, in that definition of bhakti, Rupa Goswami mentions, like karma and jnana are not given too much importance. It should be bereft of karma and bereft of jnana. Bhakti is like pure emotion. But still, we are doing jnana. Actually, if you see, this is jnana, right? It's knowledge.
Yeah.
But this is knowledge to understand what we want to do. We are not getting into the technicalities and flowcharts and all those technical aspects which, satisfies our mind or intelligence. We want to understand what has to be done. Hence, we are doing this by and large.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much. And yesterday's class was fantastic, and we could at least get some points into our system, and it was very clear, and the way you explained was very good. So we thoroughly enjoyed the classes. And today's also, it was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Armadi. This is actually all the gurus have made this thing so easy.
Yeah.
I just compiled it, like if you see that I did not draw this chart, it has some devotee has done it. But we need to understand this to have complete focus in one thing. If there are doubts, it will not give that fire in our devotional service.
We are thankful to Meena Mataji, who has given a chance to get into your explanation. The way you explained was very nice. So thank you so much, Meena.
No problem. Thank you so much. Anybody else has any question or?
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna.
How long it will take for us to attain mukti, Guruji?
That only Krishna knows. That only Krishna knows, Mataji.
We have to go on doing bhakti.
Certain things are, Mataji, beyond our control. Bhakti, who is the controller of bhakti? Krishna is the controller of bhakti. And it is Krishna's prerogative to do to give us that pure bhakti. Prabhupada said 1 minute or 1 second something. That when I can become a pure devotee, he said 1 second. Somewhere he said 1 minute. But we see that lifetime we have spent and there is no taste in it. But gradually we keep following the process, and as we associate with devotees, chant the holy names and understand the spiritual and work in that mood, then that is good enough for us, because bhakti is not a point function. Point function means only when you go there you are successful. It's not like that. If we do if we do 80% of bhakti in lifetime, the next time we'll start from 81. We'll not start from 0. So just doing bhakti in itself is a success. And there is also diminution. It is mentioned in the second, I think 41 shloka of second chapter Bhagavad-Gita. Neha bhikramanashosti pratyavayana vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little endeavor done on this part, there is no loss or diminution.
Thank you so much, Guruji.
Thanks a lot.
We really enjoyed your class and you explained very well.
Thank you, Anushmati. This Prabhupada has, and devotees have created this wonderful resource from which we can explain it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mataji. Okay, Meena Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
You can.
Hare Krishna.
How do we log out? Or you'll kick me out?
No. I'll definitely not kick you out. Okay.
Stop
Hare
sharing.
Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thanks a lot, Mataji.
We shall wind up now. Thank you very much.